welcome back to the last episode of Season 2 of the United City Randomiser. You can see in the last couple of games since we changed our tactics and got a win over Hanover, we've got a couple of other positive results, and all of that has meant that with 2 games to go against Dortmund, against Hoffenheim, we've actually already secured our place in the Bundesliga for next season. There we are in 13th currently. We've got a couple of points ahead of Hamburg behind us, so we don't look like we're going to lose our 13th spot at least, but there's a possibility if we get a couple of favourable results we might move up a position, and that will give us some more prize money, of course, which will be a really positive thing. But yes, today we've got Borussia Dortmund, who are in 9th, haven't had the best of season, and then we've got Hoffenheim to finish with, and they're in 10th. So 2 mid-table finishes. Can we get a positive result from at least one of these 2 games? The form suggests that we might, but who knows? This is Football Manager and anything can happen. So let's get into the first game. So here's the 2 teams for today. You can see that Dortmund are playing the 4-2-3-1 formation. A couple of well-known players in there. Götze, Weitzel, Paslak. I'm sure most of you have probably had him in a save or 2 points along the way. Royce and Pulisic. He's just come to the Premier League for next season, I believe, in reality for Chelsea, hasn't he? But yeah, there's the 2 sides. We've had to play Gomez because Silva has been unwell in the lead up to the game, so that's unfortunate. But Gomez is a perfectly good replacement. Let's go to the dressing room and do the team talk. There's no pressure on us, of course, anymore. We've achieved exactly what we wanted to, so I'm just going to let them go out with clear minds, see if we can continue the last couple of games' good form, see if our new tactical approach helps us against a big team. Even if they finish in 9th, Dortmund are still a very big team in terms of Bundesliga status, so it's a good test to see where we currently are in terms of our development as a team. I'm really happy to have succeeded in terms of what we said originally at the very beginning of the season. All I cared about was not getting relegated, was finishing that place above the relegation spots and just maintain our position in the league for next season, and we've done that. So the board are pretty happy with that. That's what they set me to do as well. So, what more can anybody ask of us, really? Excuse me. Here comes the first highlight. It's their highlight on the right hand side. We clear it partially, but they come up on the follow-up, and Götze puts it just wide. So, there's a warning for us that they're here to play and attack, and they've got a couple of shots already, and we haven't. Here's another of their attempts, and I'm not quite sure how he did it, but Royce beat our goalkeeper at the near post, and that's very disappointing. He found the gap and Grootbust couldn't quite get across in time. He nearly got there, but not quite. But that's a decent free kick, although maybe the goalkeeper should have done better. And we find ourselves 1-0 down, coming up to about the half-hour mark. I can't say that we've been in the game particularly. We haven't really demonstrated much in terms of a drive forward. You can tell that in terms of the shots, etc., that have happened. Our possession stats are pretty average compared to Dortmund as well. It's sort of a fairly average game in possession terms, but we're not really able to push them too much and get anything from the first half specifically. So we'll encourage them in the second half to push on. But here's a last opportunity for a highlight. Barbosa picks up the loose ball, puts it in, and Marin on the follow-up behind Barbosa comes in and gets a surprising equaliser just at the end of the first half. I'm not quite sure. All the Dortmund defenders seemed to just go to sleep at that point. They thought, well, that's going out, but Barbosa didn't give it up, managed to put it in the middle, and by that point, all the defenders had moved out the middle, and Marin had a simple shot, really. So, yeah, we'll take that, but that was a most surprising equaliser. At the end of the first half, 1-1 against a big side, that's pretty good. I will take it, and I can then now encourage them for the second half rather than challenging them to perform better. That's not a bad place to be at the end of the first half. So passionately we'll say I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up. That gets them delighted and encouraged, and they're all happy about that. So we can move straight into the second half. I don't need to make any changes. And let's see if in the second half if we can move on from that surprise equaliser in the first half. Here comes a long throw from Cruiser on the far side, but the goalkeeper comes straight out and claims it with no major problems. He then releases the ball. Pulisic on the right hand side for them, crosses it into the middle. There's a couple of free players there, bit like our goal in the first half. The spaces were there because the defence weren't focused on it at all. I think we'd probably pushed too many people forward for our our throw-in, and they just didn't get back in time. You can see at that point, look, they've got like 4 that almost could have had a shot on goal at one point or another in the build-up. So, yeah, disappointing. We're still a work in progress, obviously, in terms of we probably need some extra pace in our side moving forward into next season. Something that I'll see if I can address in the summer transfer window, along with lots of other things that I need to address in the summer transfer window. But yeah, a lack of pace maybe at the back is holding us back slightly. So we'll see if we can sort that out. Other than that, though, it's, second half seems a little bit better in terms of we've had a couple more shots on goal. The possession stats remain fairly equal, so that's pretty good. All in all, it's not a bad performance against Borussia Dortmund, I would say. So people are beginning to just get a little bit tired, and a couple of yellow cards around at this point in the game. So we'll go in and we'll see if we can change some of that. So we are going to take our 2 yellow cards off because I don't want to cause a problem for us in terms of any future suspensions. We'll just change Magic Shack and Burnich round just because they play better in those positions. We've got 1 more to make, and we've got 2 wide men that aren't performing particularly well. Darday or Hilsner. I'm going to go Darday because Roberts isn't doing well at all. So he's going to come on for the last 20 minutes of the game and see if he can unlock them in any way. But yeah, those 2 yellow cards is good to protect that as much as you can, I guess. We have had a couple of suspensions late in the season because people have picked up too many along the way, but that's just part and parcel of it all, really. Into the last sort of 12 minutes of the game, it's their long goal kick. Can we pick up the loose ball? We can't. And they've got plenty of space to work in again, which is most disappointing. And they get an easy goal. It's something that I've got to restructure, I think, is how we defend certain situations, because there's far too much space and we're not quite getting to grips with the movement of the attacking players that we come up against. So again, maybe it's the defensive area a little bit that we might need to reshape tactically. There'll obviously be some new personnel coming in over the summer, I hope. We'll find out at the end of the season what our transfer fund is, but they've got a corner kick on the edge of the area. It's brought back in again, sent out wide, and the highlight breaks down. So that didn't really come to much in the end. Disappointing in terms of how we've let in the goals, but not too surprising, I guess, in terms of the ultimate result of losing to Dortmund, however they've done this season. You'd have hoped that at our home ground we might have been able to perform a bit better because of the last couple of results, but there we are. Long throw again for us. It comes back out to Heiss, who did the throw in the first place. Can he find a way to get a cross in? No, he can't, and that's the end of the game. So unfortunately, we lost that particular match. I would say slightly unsurprisingly in terms of the run of the game. I will let the assistant tell them that they were disappointing. We'll go and just check out what happened in a couple of the other games around today and see where that leaves us in the division. Well, we're still in 13th. We've got 1 more game to play. There is, again, as I say, a slight possibility we could leap a position, maybe, but we're certainly not going to drop a position, so that's fine. So we'll go straight into the next game and close off our season with 1 last game to play. Here we go then for 1 last game of this second season of United City Randomiser. We've got Hoffenheim, the last game to play. You can see that they are currently in 11th and we look likely to finish in 13th, which is still a really great result. I'm really happy with it. It will give us a good sound foundation to move on into next season from. Here's some of our good performers for the season. Barbosa didn't quite get as many goals as I wanted, but he still performed well. I would like to see if I can get him back next season, maybe on another season loan, but it's maybe doubtful. Bertram is our highest average rating. He's going to stick around, which is good. Again, Bertram and Cruiser both stay in the side and the team for next season. So there are assists, primary assisters. Burnich is again on a season-long loan for next season, so that's tied up, so he can continue in our side. You can see we did pretty average throughout, but that's kind of where we found our level. We were about 13th in terms of all of the different stats that we have. We've been on a decent run, although it came to a bit of an abrupt end against Dortmund in the game that we've just played. And so we've got one final opportunity to play in this particular season before we call it quits for the summer transfer window. So let's just go and check into our team tactics just to talk about a couple of players. So Gok and Goal I'd like to get back again next season, but they're not playing ball at the moment, so I doubt that that's going to happen. Roberts, I'm unsure about. His rating wasn't particularly high, although he's performed okay here and there. So we'll see about that sort of position as to who I can get in to fill that role. Gomez is another one that I think would be useful to get. He's improving here and there. So now that we have Silva playing in that role, if he could come back in and perform a duty there, I would take it. Wassi's going. We're not renewing his contract. He's not good enough. Darday won't be back because he's now not quite good enough for what we need. It's the same with Majekczak, not quite good enough anymore. Orez I will try and get out the door. He wants to go and he's not been good enough. Zentner, I hope would stay, but to be honest, I doubt he will. If we can find a better goalkeeper than him, then we probably will change that. Kinsvatter is going as if I can get him out the door just because he's not good enough. I don't think I'll be bringing Mateta back again. So there'll be lots of changes there in the summer, hopefully. That's dependent on a couple of things. One, I've mentioned before that we do have a quota of German players that we have to have in the squad, and we are going to lose a couple of German players through people like Gokengol and Darday and Kinsvatter and Majekczak. So we do kind of have to replace like for like in terms of German, but you know, we'll play around with that and see what we can achieve in the summer. The other thing, of course, is it's all based around what we end up getting for a transfer fund, and that I don't know about yet. So hopefully after this game we'll find that out. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. We'll tinker with the formation and the structure a little bit again through the summer months, probably just knocking off some rough edges. But yeah, I think we've got a good foundation to move this squad from and our club from, and hopefully continue to move up in terms of the Bundesliga. So that'll do for sort of all the housekeeping stuff. We've got one last game, so let's go through to that and see if we can get a decent performance out of our guys for one last time this season. We're away from home at Hoffenheim, which, you know, is a shame that we don't finish at home particularly, but that's just the way it is. They're playing their 4-2-3-1 formation. It's a formation we encounter quite a lot in German football. We stick with our tried and tested, and I'm not going to give them anything particularly big to think about. I'm just going to say all the best out there, have fun. We can't lose today really in terms of our league position won't change. We can't really gain too much. We could gain a league position if we get a win, and I think it's Mainz above us don't. But, you know, I'm not counting on that. I'm happy with 13th if that's where we end up. So we'll just say how we go. So it's our throw-in on the left-hand side. Heiss with the long throw that comes straight back out to him from the defensive header. He brings it forward, crosses it right the way across, and Marin picks it up. Again, the cross comes in, but the defence clears it only to the edge of the box where we regain possession. It finds its way back out to Heiss again. Can he get a cross in? He can. Again to Roberts on the far post, but there was a challenge that came in and the ball goes slightly wide and we have our corner kick. So the corner goes to the edge for Marin. Is he going to get a shot away? No, he doesn't quite make it. It comes back to Bertram, who took the corner, and there's a free kick being given. This was the original chance that was came across and all the way to Roberts, who then put it back in for a shot on goal, but it was blocked. That led to our original corner. So, you know, we put a bit of pressure on. We had a couple of half chances, which is very encouraging. They've started well, Hoffenheim, in terms of their possession of the ball, but the highlights are ours so far. Having said that, they've nicked the ball from us and here they come forward. It sits at their defence at the moment. Are they going to go back to the keeper? They are. He brings it back out again, and gradually they're working their way through the team. And there's the long ball again. One of our defenders is slightly out of position and not concentrating. And again, centrally, there's too much space for them to work into. I'm a bit of a loss as to how we change that, other than just upping the quality of the defender we've got. You can see at this point we're in good positions, but people run off of our midfield actually. If you watch that closely, you'll see that Griffo ran off the midfielders past the defenders, and the midfield didn't stick with him. So that was the problem on that particular goal. Yeah, plenty of things that we still need to work on. But, you know, it's a little bit nitpicky just at this point in the season when we've achieved exactly what we asked them to achieve. So, you know, hopefully next season we can improve the playing squad and, you know, just get a slightly better consistency out of the players that we've got. Heiss with the half clearance, but it's picked up, and there's a second goal for them. Oh dear. Yeah, again, it's a little bit defensive issue in quality in terms of getting rid of the ball. We seem to half clear a lot, and it just drops to their players, and then they can come and attack us on the run and get decent shots away. That was a very good shot, but it all stemmed still from a slight defensive error, really, of heading the ball straight back to an opponent. And it's something that we need to start eliminating from our game, if at all possible. But yeah, that feels like a bit of a way away at the moment. You can see that really they are controlling the game. It's their home game, of course. They've got a style of play that's meaning they're keeping the ball away from us more, getting more shots than we are. We've not really had much to celebrate for the first 36 minutes of the game, and it looks like it might stay that way through till half time. You can see in terms of our player stats, people like Barbosa is probably very isolated at the moment and not really getting much of a chance to influence the game, hence why he's so low in terms of his rating. Yeah, seems to lack a bit of cohesion today and a bit of togetherness and the ability to find our passes. But there we go to half time. We find ourselves 2-0 down, which is very disappointing. I am going to suggest that I need something from them in the second half. Because, you know, we can't go out with a whimper if at all possible. We need to really try and get something from this game if at all possible. So here we go for the second half. We'll see whether we can get a better performance. We've picked up a couple of yellow cards that we might have to pay attention to late in the game. But really, all I'm interested in at this point is can we make an impact on this game? Because so far we're not. I'm going to change the positive to attacking. We've got nothing to lose. I'm going to send on a shout to push forward. Just again, because, you know, what have we got to lose at this point? Let's select all players and confirm that. And you can see nothing really happened in that time that we were doing that. It's, you know, all still as it has been. We're coming towards the 68th minute. And no highlights, nothing exciting. They've had many more shots than we have, but I guess possession stats are a little bit more close together. So we're going to make a couple of subs just because we need to see if we can find a way to impact the game a bit more. We'll bring Klunter onto the left. It's not his natural position, but he's all right there. I don't like the fact that we've got some anxiety in the team, so we're going to get rid of that primarily. And Barbosa on this particular occasion, you've lucked out, my boy, because really you should have come off, but I just wanted to get the anxiety out of our team. So Barbosa can stay on, and hopefully that will come back to help us and he can nick a goal somehow and get us back into the match. But yeah, as I say, it's looked fairly ordinary, this particular game. Almost like it's the end of season and nobody's got anything to play for. Who knew? But that's the feel that it's got, isn't it, really, from our point of view, that there's nothing to fight for. And they've kind of just strolled about a bit and not really achieved much. 2 minutes to go before added time. A couple minutes of added time as well. We've picked up another yellow card, and that's about the highlight of the game, really. Their corner kick comes in. We get it cleared. Do we clear it all the way? No, they pick it up again on the outside of the box. Are they going to get an opportunity at a shot, or are we going to hold our shape and continue to push them back to the end of the match? There's the final whistle. That's the final whistle for the season. It was a very disappointing end to the season, to say the least, in terms of that one game. But overall, I'm not going to complain because we achieved exactly what we wanted to. We stayed in the Bundesliga. We've given ourselves a good opportunity with a good foundation of a club to try and move this forward. We're just going to see if anybody mentions anything about transfer funds. They dominate us. Curtain comes down. That's the amount of money that we won for finishing in 13th, which is huge amounts of money for what we've had previously. So that's the bank balance upped. I will hopefully get a message in the very near future for the transfer fund and the wage structure. And if I do in the next little bit, then I'll add it onto this video just to give you a heads up before we head into the transfer window. So yeah, I'll probably be back in 1 second. So as promised, here's the little add-on. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Here's the end of season awards. You can see that Bertram won the Player of the Year. Burnich and goal followed in his wake. Burnich got the goal of the season against Hoffenheim earlier in the season. Signing of the season was Greutbust, decent enough goalkeeper. You know, he's had a couple of errors here and there, but in general terms, he's done okay. And the young player is Burnich, and that's no surprise. He's been a very good performer for us. So that's our team of the season. No major surprises. I would expect next season for Marin to come into this position because Wassi will move out. But other than that, it's the team that we pretty much played through most of the season, isn't it, really? So that's no surprise there. The other thing, we have had our season budgets for next year, and they're not too bad. Considering we got £600,000 to spend last summer in the transfer market, this year we've been given 9 million, just short of £10 million, which we can certainly do some stuff with. You know, I can't tell you exactly how that's going to go yet, but we'll certainly give a good go at trying to figure a few things out in our side. And we've got a decent, healthy wage budget. If you currently look at what we're spending on the wage budget, you know, we're currently spending 340, 335 committed spending. So there's plenty of movement in the wage budget as well. We have done one piece of business already that I'd meant to tell you about earlier. So we've talked about Omaru earlier in the season because he came in January. But in the last couple of weeks, we have got another free transfer that I was looking at for a while. He refused to talk to us for a while, but eventually we got him. This is the guy that's going to come and replace Wassi in terms of the Metzala role, probably behind Marin. So you can see again for Metzala type role, he's it will be on an attacking. So let's go and have a look at that. He's got some decent stats where we need it in terms of the green stats around. So I think he's going to be a decent enough acquisition. Again, it was a free transfer, so that's not too bad really, I wouldn't say. So that's the only bit that we've done so far. We've got those two coming in. We're going to have a busy summer, I would imagine, and I will return just after the close of the transfer window when all the dealings are done so I can show you what we've achieved, and then we will head into season 3 together, back in the Bundesliga, because we secured our safety in it this time round, which again was a great achievement I'm really happy with. So bring on next season. I'll see you soon. Thanks very much for watching this episode of the United City Randomiser Save. If you enjoyed the video, then why not click on the like button, as that would really help me. If you think you know anyone who would really enjoy my Football Manager content, then feel free to share this with them. But most importantly, if you would like to join my United City here on YouTube, then hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with my video releases. If you have anything you want to say about the United City Save or the channel itself, then feel free to leave a comment below, but please try and be nice with each other. That'll do for today, so until next time, stay happy and healthy, and I will see you soon.